What if the one player saving an entire league is the one they're trying to destroy? Caitlin Clark is breaking records, selling out arenas, and making people finally care about the WNBA. So why does it feel like the league is turning against her? From brutal hits on the court to shocking snubs off it, something deeper is going on. Is it jealousy, resentment, or something the WNBA doesn't want you to know? Today, we're going to break down why the WNBA isn't welcoming its biggest star, but attacking her instead. For decades, the WNBA has been fighting to stay relevant. While the NBA thrives with billion-dollar TV deals and global superstars, the WNBA has struggled to fill seats, attract viewers, and generate enough revenue to stand on its own. Even the league's biggest games often go unnoticed. Some fans can't even name the last WNBA champion, but they sure remember the latest NBA trade drama. The truth is, the WNBA has been running on life support, with the NBA keeping it alive through financial backing. Ticket sales remain low, viewerships barely move the needle, merchandise sales, a fraction of what NBA rookies alone generate. Year after year, the league has pushed for equal pay, but there's one undeniable problem. There simply isn't enough money coming in to make it happen. To put it in perspective, when WNBA star Brittany Griner was involved in a major international incident, it made more headlines than the WNBA finals. Think about that. A trade involving her return from Russia was more widely discussed than the league's championship series. That says everything about where the WNBA has been. But then, Caitlin Clark arrived. She's not just another rookie, she's a movement, man. A once-in-a-generation star, the kind of player that the league has been waiting for. She's selling out arenas in every city she plays in. TV ratings are skyrocketing, and suddenly, people who never cared about the WNBA before are finally tuning in. Some are watching just to see her. Others are watching just to hate her. But either way, they're watching. Caitlin Clark is making history every time she steps on the court. She's not just competing with other WNBA players, she's competing with NBA superstars in media coverage. During the 2024 NBA Finals, her name was trending right alongside the best players in the world. That is power. And in sports, power doesn't just make you a superstar, it makes you a target. But what happens when a league isn't ready for its own success? Caitlin Clark should be the WNBA's golden ticket, but instead of lifting her, players are tearing her down. And if you think this is just about competition, think again. This runs much deeper. Let's talk about the culture of jealousy and toxicity inside the WNBA. The attacks on Caitlin Clark didn't start in the WNBA. They were brewing long before she even entered the league. Former WNBA champion Candace Wiggins once pulled back the curtain on the league's toxic culture, revealing that she was bullied not for her game, but for her popularity. According to her, resentment ran deep, and being well-liked outside the WNBA made her a target inside of it. She had the talent and the drive to play for years, but the mental exhaustion pushed her out of the game entirely. At the time, her claims were brushed off and dismissed as an isolated experience, but now, history is repeating itself. The way Caitlin Clark is being treated proves that Wiggins' words carry more truth than people want to admit. Caitlin is elevating the WNBA in ways no one else has, yet instead of embracing her, the league is actively trying to bring her down. If Wiggins was pushed out because of jealousy, then Caitlin Clark is facing the same battle, only on a much bigger stage with even more at stake. Caitlin Clark is the kind of superstar the WNBA has been waiting for, yet instead of celebrating her, many of the league's players seem determined to diminish her success. Take WNBA legend Diana Taurasi, widely considered the greatest player in league history. When asked about Caitlin's exclusion from Team USA, Taurasi smirked and said, 20 years old is pretty young. But when reminded that she herself made the Olympic team at that exact age, her response was quick. I won 3 national championships. The message was clear. Caitlin hadn't earned it. But here's the problem. The numbers tell a completely different story. Caitlin Clark's impact on the WNBA is already greater than what most players have achieved in decades. She's breaking viewership records, packing arenas, and making people care about the WNBA in ways no one else ever has. Even before stepping into a WNBA court, she signed a Nike shoe deal worth more than what Taurasi has made in her entire WNBA career. If that doesn't create resentment, nothing will. Caitlin isn't just another rookie, she's a brand, a marketing powerhouse, and the main reason millions of new fans are suddenly paying attention to the WNBA. And that's exactly why she's being met with hostility. Some players have spent years grinding for recognition only to see Caitlin Clark come in and become the face of the league overnight. It's a tough reality to accept, but that's how sports work. The biggest stars get the most attention. The WNBA should be celebrating her success, but instead, players are trying to tear her down. And this isn't just about words, cold stares, or exclusion. The resentment toward Caitlin Clark has turned physical. Hard fouls, unnecessary elbows, blatant targeting. This is more than just tough rookie treatment. This is personal. And the worst part, the league isn't just ignoring it, they're allowing it. And that's where things get dangerous. This isn't about cold shoulders or dismissive comments. What's happening to Caitlin Clark on the court goes beyond words. It's physical, aggressive, and at times, outright dangerous. She isn't just being defended hard, she's being targeted. Game after game, she takes brutal hits and hard fouls that seem destined to send a message rather than play defense. Elbows to the face, shots when she doesn't even have the ball, and unnecessary contact that goes far beyond the usual welcome to the league treatment. In the NBA, when Lonzo Ball entered the league with plenty of hype, there was some animosity. Players wanted to test him, and Patrick Beverley famously set the tone with a tough physical game against him. But that was just one moment, one player. It was competitive, not personal. But Caitlin Clark, on the other hand, is experiencing something completely different. She's facing repeated targeting night after night. Cheap shots disguised as tough defense have become routine, and somehow the league is looking the other way. No fines, no suspensions, no real consequences. The message? This is fair game. And as long as no one steps in to stop it, the hits will keep coming. But why is the WNBA allowing this? Why would a league that has struggled for years ignore, or worse, enable this kind of treatment toward the one player who could change everything for them? The answer reveals something deeper about the league itself. For years, the WNBA has fought to be taken seriously, constantly pushing for more respect, higher salaries, and a bigger platform. They've wanted the attention, the recognition, and the fan base that the NBA has. But now, when they finally have a player who's bringing all of that and more, they're not embracing her, but tearing her down. Is it jealousy? Some players have spent years in the league with little mainstream attention, and now Caitlin Clark comes in and immediately becomes the face of women's basketball. Is it resentment? The reality is that Caitlin Clark is making more headlines, selling more tickets, and drawing more viewers than many of the WNBA's biggest names ever have. Or is it fear? Fear that her popularity will overshadow everyone else, that instead of raising the league as a whole, she'll become the only story that matters. Whatever the reason, the message is clear. Caitlin Clark doesn't need the WNBA. The WNBA is the one that needs Caitlin Clark. And instead of protecting their biggest asset, they seem to be doing everything possible to push her out. But what happens if they succeed? If Caitlin Clark walks away, the WNBA loses everything. Ticket sales, sponsorships, and TV ratings could all come crashing down. The league is standing at a crossroads, and the next move they make could determine their entire future. So what happens now? The WNBA is at a breaking point. They can either protect Caitlin Clark and embrace the growth that she brings, or they can continue down this path of resentment and hostility. If they choose the latter, they might be making the biggest mistake in league history. Just ask Candace Wiggins. She spoke up about the toxic culture years ago and no one listened. If Caitlin Clark decides that she's had enough and walks away, the league won't just lose a player, they'll lose everything. Ticket sales? Gone. TV ratings? Crushed. Sponsorships? Vanished. The sudden surge in attention the WNBA is enjoying right now exists only because of Caitlin Clark, and if she leaves, all of it could disappear just as quickly as it arrived. This isn't just about one player, it's about the survival of the league itself. Will Caitlin Clark be the hero who elevates women's basketball, or will the WNBA's jealousy and stubbornness be the thing that finally drags it back to irrelevance? Speaking of the WNBA's future, ESPN just dropped the 2025 WNBA rankings, and let's just say fans have a lot to say about it. Did they get it right, or is this just another case of bad analysis?